Good afternoon, boys and girls, children of all ages, and welcome to the Friday Funcast, the weekend Funcast. Today is Friday. It's the weekend. For some people, maybe you got a good start. Adam and Russ,
Yes.
WrestleMania.
It's funny, every time we do this, we shake hands, and it's like it's the first time we've seen each other in a week since the last time we did it. The reality is almost every day.
Almost every day.
But Adam is a hard worker, as you might imagine. He's in here, he's recording things all the time. He's out there, he's doing stories. He's a man about the town, only instead of town, it's at the station. It's really not a town at all. But anyway, so it is good to see you, as it was 20 minutes ago. And it's
going to be good for the next 20 minutes as well.
I believe so.
Indeed.
You were right until we get to my football picks, and it's ever good. We're going to talk about that in just a minute, because last week, again, not a good week. And I don't know if you recall, but I actually had someone else make my picks. And I want to talk more about that as well as we get into this. But anyway, tell me, so we are now, it's hard to believe, today is November 15th, mid-November, midnight tonight, we'll cross over to the second half of November. Does that seem amazing to you?
It blows my mind.
Yeah,
it really does. And it's also, I know we'll get to some of this too, but it's like we're starting to talk about the possibility of like actual winter weather. And I remember my first ever weekend in Fargo, as a resident of Fargo, was a Halloween weekend, 2021. And I just remember going out, and my friends took me to the bars, and they didn't know that I despise the bars. They're too loud, and there's too many people, and I didn't know what I was, and I didn't really have a costume, and I'm rocking around, and these floors are all sticky, and that's all bad enough. But to make matters worse, I was freezing.
Yes.
And so it's like, is it always going to snow on Halloween? And it seems like usually, not this year, but we haven't really seen that first snow. I was kind of thinking we might, and I don't know, but now it's like, I've been watching that show Game of Thrones. They keep saying it.
Oh, are you watching that?
Winter is coming.
Is this your first time, or are you watching it?
It is my first time.
And where are you at in Game of Thrones?
I just started season 2.
How do you feel so
It's
far?
very violent. I'm
violent.
like more of a peace and love guy. It's like, geez, you guys are doing a lot of stabbing.
So, the stabbing and the nudity, to be honest.
Viewer discretion is very much advised. I mean, I'm a guy, I get home, I pop on the Lazy Boy or whatever brand recliner I got off Facebook Marketplace, and I watch basketball. And I'm watching the basketball, and unless Draymond Green is involved, there's not very much violence. And so when I turn on Game of Thrones, I am just bewildered.
It's like almost everyone in Game of Thrones is Draymond Green.
That's a good analogy.
No, well, I'll say this, because in many a year ago, I think it was 2015, 2016, which is I think you were 7. I started watching Game of Thrones, but at that point, I think it was at that time within the confines of life.
When it was actually on the television?
Right. I think it was they had been through season 5. So when I started season 1, there were 5 seasons. So I caught up and then watched 6, 7, and 8 as they were happening. And I got to tell you, I'm just going to say, you're right. Stick with it. Once you get past season 1 and maybe a little bit of season 2, a lot of the things that you see early, it's almost like attention grabbing. Like, we're going to show you the nakedness and the stabbing and the your head's on a spike type thing.
Yeah.
And then a lot of that, not all of it, but a lot of that tends to be tempered down as the storylines kind of evolve more.
Okay.
So I would say I get what you're saying, and I felt the same. Stick with it. I'll tell you that I did not. That was not.
Come for the stabbing, stay for the storyline.
Right, exactly,
That's for me. Go away from because I've tried to watch it a few times, and I've made it through the first 2 episodes, and I'm just like, there's a lot of stabbing going on here.
My hope is that you continue to watch it.
Okay.
My favorite character of all time in Game of Thrones. My favorite character of all time on television is on Game of Thrones. I'm not going to tell you who it is. I want you to watch it at the end. I'm going to see who yours is, and then I'm going to let you know who mine is. Okay.
Okay.
I will say it is the only giveaway, because is there's a lot of people that come and go, even some main characters come and go.
Yeah,
This
okay.
person that's my favorite sticks around the entire deal.
Interesting.
But yeah, it ended up being a type of show that I didn't think I would like at all. It wasn't really. I didn't think it'd be my cup of tea. Wound up being my favorite series of all time.
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Stick.
So I'll stick with it. I'll stick with it.
So I know that was a lot, right? The other part of what you were saying, kind of getting to, is that every year is a little bit different, as you know, when it comes to weather. There are a lot of Octobers, to be honest with you. Looking back through the course history, I did some research last late winter when I was looking and going, we are not seeing any snow this winter. Like, it's February and we had seen like 8 inches total of snow.
Yeah.
And I thought, how unusual is this? Well, it turns out it's very unusual. But when you go back and look at Octobers, most of the time we have, there have been a few times here and there over the course of, the last 100 years, where we do get a bigger October snow. That's actually pretty rare, though. November tends to be the month, and actually it does come the second half of November when we tend to get our first snow that kind of makes an impact.
Okay,
right,
sure.
So again, and even then, some years we've had a lot of snowy years, or years where we've seen a lot of snow at the end of winter, or even November. It didn't really get going until December. So we're kind of at that point now, I'd say, where within the next 2 to 3 weeks, that's when you'd really start to expect, okay, we're probably going to get our first meaningful snow of the season.
Okay, that makes sense, because I remember that, first week I was up here, I was like, okay, that's probably how it works up here.
Yeah, I know.
It's October 29th, and I can feel my legs.
Right, exactly.
And
I'll
feel them in April, maybe.
Right, exactly.
And then it happened the next year. But then 2023 came around, and I was like, I can wear my shorts till December 3rd.
Right.
And they're like,
exactly.
this is real nice. This is tropical.
And then, of course, there's that part of it that's like, okay, we talk about snow being one
Yeah.
in the weather system, but as you know, if you lived here any amount of time at all, you can get really, really, really super cold. And there's no snow around. It's sunny, and it's like 35 below with the wind chill. So cold is a different story, and I think the one thing we look at this winter, and we'll continue kind of with La Nina winter, although a weak La Nina, is typically the impacts, particularly when it comes to the cold, really don't hit until you start noticing it more December. January, February, and March are typically the months that were most impacted with those type of, like with the full brunt. So we're talking about that cold and potentially that snow as well. It does tend to come later, but then it sticks around longer. So you're sitting there at the end of March going, I am so tired of this, because the last 3 months have been, and then sometimes it just continues through April.
But by that point, at least the NCAA basketball tournament is there.
you.
And so no matter how cold it is, you can say, hey, Georgia Tech just got upset. Sorry, low blow.
No, it's low blow and accurate. By the way, my Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets beat the Miami Hurricanes, number 4 ranked, this past Saturday, watching the game at home.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, so listen, we're no pushovers.
Okay.
We're kind of pushovers.
Okay.
But,
Hey, DePaul, 3-0.
Look at you.
All right.
Yeah, Tech is 2-1 right now. Is DePaul played? I mean, if it's like Tech has played teams like Eastern, Middle, South, Central.
Yeah, basically Sister Mary's School for the Blind. I mean, it's just not looking. I mean, hey, a win's a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I know Tech plays in basketball. Georgia, they're, of course, big rival. I think it's this weekend, and then in a couple weeks, of course, there's the big, what they call it, hold on. There's a name that how every series they call, and now I can't even think. Why can't I think of what it is? It has the word hate in it.
Oh.
I can tell you that. But for some reason, how some teams play for the little brown jug or the big green monkey. I think I might have made that up. Clean old-fashioned hate. I'm sorry, clean old-fashioned
That's
hate.
the name of the.
That's the name of the city with the Tech, Georgia.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy name.
Yeah. So anyway, Tech plays. I know everyone's like, when does Georgia Tech play again? Who do they play?
Yeah, people care up here.
But anyway, so I'm going to stop talking about that nonsense right now.
Should we talk about the weather?
Let's talk
I
about
think
the
we
weather,
had a great opening statement there, but let's get into the weather. Talk about the weekend's weather. And I see right here it says the next 2 days.
Now, what's interesting about this graphic is what will happen is I'm going to push the button. The weather for the next 2 days comes up. So it's pretty appropriately named. Here's what we've got for you. Saturday, Sunday. Now, if you notice, there's one clear winner here. In that on Sunday, a little bit cooler, but we're going to get into I think Sunday's going to be a beautiful day. A lot of sunshine.
A lot of sunshine here.
Temperatures, these numbers are well above norm for this time of year. 48 for Fargo on Sunday, 47 on Sunday as well. You see a little bit warmer on Saturday. We're going to be dealing with a lot of clouds tomorrow. Now, I do want to let you know there is a chance for showers for some areas tomorrow, as the weather models here in the last 24 hours especially have really pushed those showers well north. So what we've got here is rainfall potential Saturday evening through Sunday morning. In fact, we'll just roll right through here. And as you can see, really less than 1/4 of an inch for these areas. Once you get basically Grand Forks south, Devil's Lake south, just about all Lakes Country, we're not looking at any precipitation.
And this is for Saturday evening to Sunday morning. So nothing
rain.
Saturday morning though.
Right. Okay. So wait, Saturday evening through Sunday morning. I apologize. Saturday through Sunday morning.
Okay. Okay. Just making sure, because I'm going to be driving up northern Minnesota for a secret mission. That I will not tell anyone about, but I think I told you about it already. But
but no one else probably.
It's a secret.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be making my trip up, and then not so secret, I'll be making my way back down. And I did want to ask about this because I know a lot of people are going to make a similar commute. But UND, huge matchup, playing the #1 team in the nation in Denver. So a lot of people are going to be going up to the Ralph, and it sounds like pretty good driving conditions, maybe a little cloudy, but...
Right, driving conditions should be fine. If anything, it's going to be just a touch of rain you might have to deal with Saturday night into, again, early Sunday morning. But, that drive should be... And, these areas up here, like I said, Langdon, Devil's Lake, maybe a little bit of rain late Saturday, early
Now,
Sunday.
what about that cloudiness? Is that going to impact visibility at all, especially on the drive home?
It should not. It should not. We're not looking at fog. We're just looking at clouds. I do want to point out that this is by Sunday morning. So again, Saturday night, Sunday morning, there is a very, very small area we could see just a light, almost dusting
just
of
right
snow.
there.
Right, exactly. And when we look at that, what does that mean? I mean, we're literally talking like a dusting of snow. In one little area there west of Langdon, you can see maybe a few snow flurries in Langdon as well. So that's it for Saturday, Sunday, and then again, Sunday looks great. So with that in mind, I want to jump ahead because we've got a big weather system, and I think most people now, whether you've heard it from us or whether you've heard it from maybe you're at one of the bars that you said you frequent and you realized you didn't like the bars because they're too loud, right?
Yeah,
this is years ago.
Way too loud.
Anyway, or maybe you heard it at work, water cooler. We talk about the idea that, okay, are we going to see a bigger snow Tuesday, Wednesday, because there is a system that is moving in. I want to let you know right away, we do have a first alert weather day, and actually day is Tuesday and Wednesday for rain, wintry mix, and wind. Now the key here, the thing that's still the big fly in the ointment is the way the weather models are going. This is the tricky part because weather models kind of pushing back and forth on how much snow we might see, where the areas might see. And we're going to cover this a little bit here after this, but rain is a certainty. Wind, it's going to be very windy. It's this middle part right here we're kind of keeping an eye on. So what I'm going to do is basically show you with these first alert weather days kind of what we're confident in and what we're a little less confident in. That's still 4 days away, right? 4 or 5 days. Late Monday night through Wednesday evening, we've got a system that's going to impact the weather. Large weather system, wet weather, the Dakotas and Minnesota. So wind and cold, much chillier conditions. The trick is the way this model's timing up, or the way the system, I should say, is timing up, is that it looks like it's going to come in Monday night with the main impacts being early Tuesday through late Tuesday. If that timing stays on track, what's going to happen is we're actually going to see mainly just rain. Areas that might see a little bit of snow or have the best chance are going to be those areas that are northern Red River Valley and then areas west toward Devil's Lake Basin. Again, all about timing. The earlier it comes in, the more we're looking at just rain because the colder air hasn't quite worked its way in yet.
Interesting.
So as we take a look, what's uncertain? Again, we just mentioned the exact track of the storm, changes to location, bring changes, the impact changes there. Snow, rain, track will influence where snow falls or accumulate, and the accumulation's intensity of the impact. And I think at this point, I can tell you, and again, we've still got a little bit of time, obviously, before we get there, several days. Right now, the way it looks is this, and just mentioned this a minute ago. Mainly a rain system for most of the area. Fargo, looking at just rain at this point. Could see a few flurries on Wednesday. We're not looking at accumulating snow. Just about all of Minnesota, whether it's northwest, whether it's Lakes Country, looks like it's an all-rain event. Going to be very windy. Could see some flurries into this thing. So really the areas we're looking at and saying, hey, these areas that could be impacted with snow and maybe accumulating snow. Again, northern Red River Valley, and we're talking about Grand Forks areas north, and then out toward Devil's Lake Basin. Even with that, at this point, it looks like it's probably, at this point, looks like it's going to be on the lower amounts in terms of how much snow accumulates.
Okay.
Again, we've got several days. Weather models do tend to, especially 4 days out, do tend to change things up a little back and forth, or maybe trending a certain direction that might be different. So that could change, but my thought now is I'm about 90% sure that there's going to be no impact for snow, or very, very little impact in terms of Fargo areas east and areas south. It looks like it's just going to be a wet weather system. So if we're talking about where might we see snow, I do think it's going to be those northern western areas.
Now, if we do get that, how are we looking for hazardous driving conditions? I hate it when it's like not raining, but it still seems to be cold enough where the roads aren't great.
Yep. Well, that's another trick with this too, as I say trick, meaning that when you start looking at things like this, that's also a big thing with the impact of the timing of this is it's been warm, right? It's been warmer than normal, even during the overnight hours. So the roads are not yet cold. Sometimes, you know, if we'd have been sitting here and we'd have had temperatures in the teens and 20s for a week or two, and then we were to warm up, the roads would still be cold, but we haven't really hit that.
Okay.
So when we talk about that snow and that opportunity for those areas that do so, I keep pointing up here. I'm hoping that you know, since we don't have a map, that we're talking about Northern River Valley, Devil's Lake. The roads just haven't been. Am I saying it can't get icy? No, I'm not going to say that. But I will say is because it has been warmer than normal, the odds of us seeing slick conditions, unless we wind up in some areas, actually end up getting a good amount of snow, I shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
And so that is when winter is coming.
That is,
or at least the soonest winter could come.
That was as soon as winter could come would be Tuesday. Of course, is to keep up with the first alert weather.
But no blue guys? No blue guys with their blue eyes?
I don't think so.
Okay, good.
I don't think, no,
Good.
I don't think so. I think
They're on the Canadian border,
we were
other side of the
talking about
wall?
right, taking it right.
Okay, okay.
What is it? The White Walkers.
Frost giants? No, that's Norse mythology. I don't know. I don't know.
And there was something else I was going to say, and I forgot. Oh, I was going to say that, you know, yes, it is. If we do see this, if we do get winter impacts out of this, meaning snow, it will be our first winter weather system, of course. It could be that we escape this one, all right, with just rain, and then we're looking down the line a little ways before.
Well, I'll tell you what, if that happens, you and me we'll have to have a chat on that day and give people, you know.
Absolutely. As it turns out, I'll be here.
Me too.
And one of the things I'd say is, in addition to Summer and Joseph and I being on air this evening, keep it up, of course. Joseph Williams is here all week, and one of our fantastic meteorologists.
Oh, absolutely.
One of the strengths of our team, a core, if you will.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Also, just hilarious guy.
Funny guy, good sense of humor. He'll be here this weekend. Then, of course, Lisa in the morning, Monday morning. Summer and I, Joseph in the afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we're gonna be here for you all the way through this system.
Okay, very good, very good.
And with that, should we do football?
Is it time?
Is it time? I did want to make an explainer. So last week, Maddie, I believe was the gal, I said, you know, I've been terrible all year, right? So she made the picks.
Yeah.
I didn't really do much, but although honestly, she did better than I have on some weeks. And I thought to myself, should I blame Maddie? But then what I realized was, I think her issue was she couldn't get away from the stink of my picks from the weeks before. So she did as good as she could. Just sitting next to me making
made her
picks
worse. Wow.
Made it worse because I think she could just I bring so much negative energy to football picks this year. And it's not always like that. So this
could be your week. This could be your week. You never know.
But probably not.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right.
I always, sometimes I forget, but I want to give out those shout outs for who did the best among the people in the back and the people in the front and all the people. But four-way tie for first. And it was a very midweek. The most anyone got wrong was, I believe, 5.
Okay, yeah.
No, just kidding. There was a 7 and an 8, but it was our 2 newest pickers.
Okay.
And so Sophia and Tatum have joined the pool.
Got it.
And they are under the impression that they have to pick opposite of each other. And I said, that's not how it works. But
Well, for
so
them-
I almost give them like
Yeah.
they're working that into a new segment on Valley Today. Should be very fun, and I'm thrilled to announce that they're going to have me on next
Oh,
Tuesday.
that's great.
As someone who knows slightly more than they do.
That's- well,
but I
yeah.
kind of like their take. They're thinking like, who would win between a jaguar and a lion, or you know, like would a patriot be able to beat a ram in a fight? Is the color brown better than someone who is achieved sainthood? I don't know.
Yes.
Is Brown's a family? Baby horse against a jet? Well, I think the jet's a lot bigger, more horsepower than the horse.
Right.
Anyway,
That's
but you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the way they look at it. I'm
Yeah.
going to look in and be like, you know, Joe Namath ain't walking through that door anytime soon.
that's true.
Kind
That's
of provide some of that input. But anyway, here's the four-way tie for first. And I apologize to any of our guys watching if I get this wrong, but I believe it was Gracie Jackson. I know it was Gracie Jackson because she was thrilled about it, and that's the
is for
first time.
real.
Yes, yes. Gracie Jackson, woo! That was good. You do like, Outcast 2 weeks in a row now. Yeah, I'm going to have her watch that. She's probably watching right now. Yeah. Anyway, Gracie was among those that only had 4 wrong. Okay. So it's Gracie, Bobby, Ethan, and Eric. I'm pretty sure. And so Bobby also getting hot at the right time because he won the week before.
Yeah.
So
He's by the way, he's also getting hot in fantasy football league. Have you noticed
yeah,
that?
I have, and I tried to make him a trade offer. Do you think it was a fair offer? Because it's like he's just left me on red. I offered him Jamison Williams because his wide receivers are no good, and Jonnu Smith because I'm trying to get a tight end. So here's a lesser tight end. I'm trying to get T.J. Hawkinson. He's already got Evan Ingram. So I'm like, hey, here's a good wide receiver for you. Here's a good tight end for me, and let's call it a day.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think it's fair. I think it'll be interesting to see what Bobby does. Bobby tends to, more than anyone that I know here, Bobby tends to kind of keep things close to the vest. Like I never know what Bobby's thinking until he just opens up, and then I know everything.
Yeah,
Bobby's
I
thinking.
had to offer him a bowl of hot chili to get Caleb Williams, and
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Did you deliver?
well, my girlfriend did,
Okay, that's fantastic.
and that's good because she's much better cook than I am.
Well, that's okay. Yeah.
Let's get into the picks.
All
we
right.
both had the Eagles. That's the Thursday night matchup.
Yeah.
So 1-0, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one makes me so sad.
All right.
Oh man.
I know.
I picked the Bears every week.
Yeah.
Not this week. Packers, unfortunately,
You know,
in Chicago. Oh.
And I know Bobby said he tried to, by the way, make a bet with you again, and it sounded like you did not take that bet.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Bobby's a Green Bay fan, by the way.
Yeah.
Listen, Bobby, if you're watching, I'm sorry. I actually want Chicago to win. However, I chose Green Bay.
Yeah, you got to, right?
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions in a battle of cats hosting the Jacksonville Jaguars. This was a no-brainer. It's a lock. Detroit.
Yeah, Detroit. Yeah, not much to say about that. Yeah.
Tennessee Titans are hosting the Minnesota Vikings. As I said to Devin, Minnesota defense really good. Tennessee offense really bad.
Yeah.
Interceptions galore, sacks galore. I'm looking for like just a slaughter fest in Minnesota's favor.
If the over/under on this game were 15.5, I think I'd take the under. I'm going to go with Minnesota.
Okay, yeah, because Tennessee's defense is pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm going to go Minnesota. Yeah, I think they're just the better team.
The Miami Dolphins are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. Dolphins got that win against L.A.
Yeah.
I don't think that they are going to make the playoffs, but I do think they are going to beat the very bad Raiders.
Yes, I agree as well. So we got the same. Miami almost. That one was just one I looked at and just this one was just like a baby.
New England hosting the Rams.
Yes.
And that one makes me sad because New England beat the Bears, and that was inexplicable to me. But they do have a good defense.
They do.
I don't know. It's like one of those games where you look at the records and you're like, oh, probably LA. But if you really think about it, it could go either way. I don't remember who I picked.
That's funny because I was sitting here actually myself thinking, but as I'm thinking about it, I'm almost certain I picked New England in this game.
I feel like I took the Rams.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like I took the Rams. I think they're just better and starting to get a little healthier.
Are you trying to Tatum me just because I chose New England?
Maybe. We'll
all
see.
right.
The New Orleans Saints are hosting the Cleveland Browns, the Jameis Winston Bowl. I went with Cleveland.
That's the worst bowl ever.
Yes,
You went with
as far as
Cleveland.
bowls go.
I actually went with New Orleans. New Orleans, of course. Even though Maddie picked the Falcons last week, and I'm a huge Falcons fan, and the Falcons are legitimately better than New Orleans, I believe. As I mentioned to you last week, when the Falcons play New Orleans in New Orleans, no matter what, I have zero confidence. And as it turned out, New Orleans won. New head coach, they look better. I think they actually keep that up this week. I think they're going to beat Cleveland.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. And Cleveland's been pretty bad too.
Yeah.
New York Jets are hosting the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson is back for the Colts. He's not very good.
Right.
I think the
We'll
Jets
see
are
how long he wants to play in this game.
all season long. I'm like, I think the Jets are good, and they're like, no,
Yeah.
we're bad.
Right.
But I still think they're good. So Jets.
Do you? I don't even know that I think they're good, but I'm picking them. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I just want to say this. Some people like him, and some people just really, really don't want him to do well because they're not big fans. I'm not going to tell you which one I am.
Ooh, okay, ominous. The Pittsburgh Steelers are hosting the Baltimore Ravens, and the Steelers have been one of those teams
Yeah.
where I don't think people realize how good they were going to be.
Yeah.
Two great. This is just two of the best coaches in the world.
Absolutely.
Head to head,
for sure,
Tomlin
yeah.
and Harbaugh.
Are they the two longest tenured head coaches at this point? I feel like they've got to be, right?
They definitely got to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Andy Reid.
He was Philly. Then
He was
because
Philly, yeah.
I think Tomlin and
We're going to have
Harbaugh
to check
both
on
are-
that.
Yeah.
I think that sounds right, though.
Yeah.
I mean, Harbaugh's been there a long time. Tomlin's been there since the
It
guy.
wasn't Cowher, was it?
I think it literally was.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been there a while.
I know the Steelers franchise has been around for 130 years, and they've had 4 title head coaches. So,
That's amazing.
well, it's something. I may be lying a
Well,
little bit about that.
I know the Bears have had 147 coaches in the last 3 years.
That's
so
funny.
that's
I
not.
went Pittsburgh.
I
Sorry.
actually went Pittsburgh too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're taking the upset there.
we really are.
Baltimore favored by 3.
Yes, I think Pittsburgh. Yeah.
Denver is hosting the Falcons. You're the Falcons fan.
Yeah. It's funny because last week, my gut feeling with the Falcons has actually gone very well this year. In other words, like when they lose, I kind of have that. The only one that I was wrong on was they went to Philadelphia and they beat Philly. That was week 2.
And that was a crazy game.
Yeah. This week, even though they're on the road again, Denver's actually shown themselves to be pretty good. I think the Falcons actually do step back up. They're better than they played last week for sure. They've still won 5 of the last 7. I'm actually going with the Falcons.
I feel like both these teams are pretty solid.
Yeah.
And I think that the Falcons are in a worse division.
Yes.
I think that the Broncos are a little better than their record. They have a very good defense. And one thing, speaking of the Saints, is Sean Payton, former Saints head coach.
Yeah.
He's got those guys getting better as the season goes along.
Yeah.
They're a team I'm not too afraid of this year, but a team I'm already afraid of next year.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of those
Yeah.
guys. And
Yeah.
so they're starting to get a lot better. Mile High's a tough place to play in. And I think that they win, but I think it's going to be a bit of a nail biter. That'll be one of those games on Red Zone where the guy's like, "No, we're checking on in the game, and the Broncos just won it, and Russ is sad in North Dakota."
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I look at the Falcons this year on the road, and I know New Orleans, again, that was you throw the crap game, you can throw that out. But they played well at Tampa, beat them Tampa. They did beat Philly and Philly. I don't know that the road, I see what you're saying, the road factor. I do actually, I think the Falcons are going to win. I'm not going to say going away, but for some weird reason, I actually feel comfortable about this win for the Falcons.
Now, what do you think Tatum and Sophia would feel about the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers? Do you think they would assume the 49er is someone from the gold rush of 1849, like they got their team name for, or someone who's 49 years old?
It's a great
Because
question.
if it's like a 49er from 1849, I feel like the answer is the 49ers. But if someone's 49 years old and they're taking on a bunch of like birds of prey,
Right.
it's a completely different prediction.
Right, and I was going to say, I do know this much. Whichever one feels, the other feels completely different. Okay, I don't know which one is which. But I will say that I have a feeling that one of them is going to get this game right.
Okay, I think so. And that's whoever takes the 49ers.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah,
thought as well,
yeah.
yes.
The Buffalo Bills against the Kansas City Chiefs. This one's in Buffalo. I talked to my dad, Bill, about this game, and it was actually like we sometimes talk about these picks together, and it was the toughest one for us to pick.
Yeah.
We did wind up going with Buffalo. I feel like Kansas City's had so many close. I mean, they had to block a field goal to beat Denver last week, right?
Yeah.
But Buffalo's going to beat them because it's the regular season, and then when it's the AFC Championship,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know, like
Exactly.
this is when Buffalo wins. Kansas City is supposed to win later in the year. I've seen the script.
Two things Buffalo and Cincinnati are pretty good at is they tend to be all right, pretty good against Kansas City in the regular season.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, right.
I think
Nailed
I think a couple things. I was thinking Buffalo anyway, and I guess you might have seen Harrison Butker, best kicker in the league, I feel, Georgia Tech guy, also a controversial guy. He is on IR. He's
Okay.
out. So Kansas City loses what I think is the best kicker in the league as well, which is an extra. So not only do I think Buffalo, but I think that added, I feel good about Buffalo because Butker is out for at least 6 weeks, right, on IR. So
and you never know. They might have to sign Air Bud and get him kicking field goals.
That's true.
He's got very small feet. I don't like his odds. yeah. Those movies were so stupid.
They were real. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh,
that's just, and I didn't like when the referee just completely says, well, there's nothing in the rule book about it. It's a golden retriever.
Don't even get me. I know.
These middle schoolers.
I was about to curse.
This is the biggest day of their life. They're trying to win the championship.
Right.
And now here's some golden retriever. And the golden retriever, he played dirty.
Well,
And we didn't talk about that. They blew a 14-point lead with 4 minutes left in that game.
Yeah.
All I'm saying, I would have locked that dog up.
Yes.
Not like in a cage. I would have played better defense. Yeah. Anyway.
Taking him away.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, I can't even, like, you have summed it up so well, I can't even, you're right on that.
The Chargers hosting the Cincinnati Bengals. That's Sunday Night Football.
That is Sunday Night Football. That's good. I took the Chargers. They're just they're kind of more of that no nonsense. They've got the Harbaugh attitude. Jim, not John. And I think they're going to. I think they're going to win that game. I think they're going to lock down the combination of Joe Burrow and the other guy that I can't remember his name.
I think it's a bad matchup for Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Their offensive line isn't very good, and LA Chargers' defensive line's really good.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a tough, long night for
I agree.
Joe Shiesty, as the young kids call him.
That's right.
The Dallas Cowboys, the surprise, bad team
Yes.
of the year.
Yeah, they were already the surprise bad team, and then you lose Prescott, right? So now you're extra bad or worse or bad, I believe is the way we say it in the South.
Yeah. You're,
I know.
yikes. Houston's going to win that one.
Houston is going to win, and I really need, this is just on a personal note, my fantasy team in the league we're in is actually doing very well. Somehow, I'm behind Sydney, who has 300 points less
Hasn't
than me.
checked her lineup all year. yeah.
She's ahead of me.
A stranglehold on first place. She beat me by about 50. I couldn't believe it.
And I think 7 of her players were at it. It was weird. Everyone in our league has their worst week when they play Sydney.
Yeah.
And anyway, so
Sydney over there oblivious.
Yes.
Oh, I hope that both teams have fun. And then she steamrolls you.
I'm not bitter.
But
that's
I
the
think
thing.
that she's kind of have you seen that show Columbo?
Oh,
She's pretending
That's a good-
not to
yeah.
know
Yeah.
so
She'll-
she can.
she always does this. We're talking about it. She's like, I gotta check my team. Then she walks out, and then right last step she turns. She goes, but.
yeah.
And I'm like, just leave the room.
But I do think I'm going to stream the Texans defense this week.
So I have Caleb. Not Caleb. I want to say I have CJ Stroud.
Okay.
And I need Stroud to. It's been iffy this year at times. I need Stroud to step up because I need to keep pace.
Yeah.
And just hope that finally someone plays a decent match against her.
Did you see I changed my team name?
Several times, but I know midst of the
It was.
I know clowns.
It was the clowns. That was the peak of my rage.
Yes,
The peak of my rage. The midsters of the Midway. I was the monsters of the Midway. Went bear heavy. My identity. I'm starting Tua this week. I picked up Tua. I'm going on with him in the matchup. I'm trying to win the league now.
I got
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll trade my Bears. I don't care.
Right.
I don't care. I need to win something.
You're taking
I need to win something.
And I believe, if I'm correct, I believe you're favored by 50 points in that matchup. So I think you're probably pretty good.
I can't remember who I'm playing, but I'm up big. Started
Yes.
Saquon. So
That was smart.
good luck, whoever's playing me. You're going to need it.
That's right. You work here. We know that.
Yeah, whoever you are. Anyway, have a great weekend. We will see you next time. Thanks for watching the Weekend Funcast with Adam and Russ.